Now we actually want to configure BGP in our routing environment. So we'll start with router 1, configure terminal, router BGP 65001. Remember the command no auto summary, no synchronization. Now we actually want to define our BGP router ID, so BGP router ID 10.1.1.1. Now for our neighbor commands, neighbor 10. Now one of the things we need to do is make sure that we have a route to 10.10.10.10 and 10.6.6.6. So it's IP route 10.10.10.10, 255.255.255.255, and then we need to define the next hop, which is 10.99.99.10. Do something similar for router 6. Otherwise, it won't know how to get to the next hop address of these loopbacks. 6.6.6. Okay, now we can go back to our BGP configuration. Now we can do neighbor, provided we spell it correctly. 10. We'll do the internet router first. 10.10.10 remote AS 65000. We'll then want to actually set our update source, loopback 0. Then remember we have to have eBGP multi-hop. We'll do soft configuration inbound because we can clear out the neighbor relationships more quickly. So if we do show run to be able to verify where we are with this. So here's what we have so far. We have, well, I could have put eBGP multi-hop 3, which would have been fine. But this should give us all that we need for our neighbor relationship to be coming up. So let's now do router BGP. Oops, we're already there. It'd be neighbor 10.6.6.6 remote AS 65006. Update source. Look, our internet router came up, loopback 0. We'll just put eBGP multi-hop 3 on this one because that's as far as we really need to go. Update source. And then our final command, timers. Let's do 5:15. And that may have been one thing that we left out in our configuration. It is for our other neighbor. So let's go ahead and add that just so we can, mainly just because so we don't have to wait as long. Now show IP BGP summary. Notice we're already getting routes from our internet router. So we do show IP BGP. And those are already some things that are being listed as part of the process. Notice none of them have been installed yet. So now we need to configure router 6, configure terminal, router BGP 65006, no auto summary, no synchronization, BGP router ID 10.6.6.6. Now for our neighbor configurations, 10.10.10.10 remote AS 65000. Update source, loopback 0. eBGP multi-hop statement, eBGP multi-hop 3. Our soft reconfiguration inbound, and our timers. We do show IP BGP summary. Forgot to configure our other neighbor. Neighbor 10.1.1.1 remote AS 65001. update source, loop back 0, eBGP multi-hop 3, timers 515, and then our soft reconfiguration inbound. We do show IP BGP. Shows all the routes being put in the table. Show IP BGP summary. Showing our route to the internet router is up. We're still waiting on the rest of our neighbor relationships to come up. So if we do ping 10.6.6.6, make sure everything's reachable, and it is. Ping 10.1.1.1. Oh, that's right, we did not put the next hop addresses on our router here for router 6. So let's do that real quick. Configure terminal, IP route 10.6.6.6, 255.255.255.255, and then 10.99.99. Oh, actually, that's our loopback address, 10.1.1.1, 99.1, 10. Notice now the neighbor relationship is up because it knows how to get to it. .10.10.10. Okay, so now we do show IP BGP summary and show IP BGP, and it is selected routes. The final thing we actually, well, one of the final things we need to do is actually now announce the routes. So if we were to do show IP route EIGRP, you could see where this would take us quite some time to actually put in through the neighbor statements, so, or the network statement. So I've actually created what we would need. So here we go with this. So copy for router 1, configure terminal, router BGP 65001. Now we can paste all our network statements in to announce the routes that we have. And then the default information originates. We'll go over to router 6. Let's see what's being advertised on BGP now. Notice it's already starting to pick up some of these other things from our other side. So this is working successfully. Now we want to put the network statements in on this side. Copy. Router BGP 65006. Then go to router 1 and see if those are coming across. Show IP BGP. Now, one of the things that can happen when something's been changed in the configuration, you can do the clear IP BGP. In this case, we just want to clear the relationship out with AS number 65006. So the neighbor connection is dropping. Because we put the timers at 5 seconds and 15 seconds respectively for the keep alive and such, we're now actually going to see the statement come back up. So BGP summary. And you see it's an active state. Now it's up. Notice now it's showing 29 prefixes. So now if we do show IP BGP, we're going to get a lot more information. Notice these are advertised through 65006. And I want you to notice one thing here is where it says R here, that means routing information base failure. It means that this has already been learned from some other source and installed in the IP routing table. Remember, we put a static route in, so that's why that is acting that particular way. So that takes care of our basic configurations. So you can see it's just some basic verification, which we'll actually do in our next section.